name is Marialuz. I am a birth doula, a birth assistant. I'm also a student counselor, and I've been a family advocate and service provider for about 20 years. So without even realizing, I would say that I've become a story keeper and therefore a storyteller. I am a confidant to so many people. I love people, and both professionally and personally. I get to hear their stories and to hold them and to help often in the transmutation of those stories, because we have stories of triumph, but we also have our stories of pain. But how we interface with those stories and then how we share those stories, some alchemy happens. And I've been involved with that. And in helping people and counseling people, it's amazing how the act of sharing the story and then having it reflected back can change perspectives, can create healing and empowerment. And then I'm in a position, with the permission of the storyteller, to say, can I hold this story and later share it anonymously with someone who may gather inspiration or ideas or momentum from your story. So storytelling creeped up and has become a large part of my life. I hail from Ecuador and from the coast, which is, we are most likely descendants of a Hamaguaque culture, which was pre-Incan, a very gorgeous, rich, indigenous culture. As an indigenous descendant in the States, we are at the point where I think more and more people understand that as indigenous people, we are not tied to just a specific area of the land, all of Turtle Island. So now we're talking about the tip of South America up to the top of what is now Canada is our land. So I very much feel tied to the entirety of this landmass culturally. I also am tied to African culture. My kids are of African descent, and I'm blessed to be in Chocolate City. And not only to have that tied to the African American experience, but there's a lot of Caribbean and African culture here. So it's wonderful to raise my kids in an environment where they are linked to their indigenous past and their African past. In terms of being a mestiza, a product of colonization, I definitely have a complicated, but I'm more and more in peace with what is likely my Spanish past. So interestingly enough, my son just spent a semester in Spain, and very soon we'll be returning together, so I'm looking forward to interfacing with my Spanish past, but then embracing all that is Spain, which is not strictly European, it's also Arab and Moorish and African. So it's been a beautiful journey, and spiritually I will say that I have connected and I have prayed at the altars of all of my ancestors, and for that I'm very grateful.
Amen.
So it took me a minute to get here, but I wouldn't change a thing. Real challenges, real confusion, real darkness. And at the same time, when I think about my life now and the role that those challenges played, I can't be who I am now without those. And that's a complex relationship with the past, but it brings so much peace. To soothe her, because she did deserve a little bit more soothing than she got, is just having an understanding of the nature of life, of the cycle. And as a birth attendant, I will say that birth cycle, that contraction, pause, early stage, active stage, transition, and birthing happens over and over and over. And I would say that for our generation, being a first-generation immigrant, in many ways the story that I absorbed was you get to a place where you're done and you've achieved things and you're happy, and any unhappiness is your fault or lack of gratitude or will. And I think I would have appreciated a little lesson in, guess what, life is a cycle of breaking and repairing and getting dirty and cleaning it off and growing over and over and over. That being said, even the ignorance of that in some way shaped me to be the person that I am right now. So I humble myself because it's too vast, the beauty and the algorithms that made this moment happen. But I do believe in soothing each other, because as glorious as this life can be incredibly confusing. And as human beings, to just reflect that back, to say to each other, this is hard, and I see you, and I'll be there on the other side, and I'll be there when it's hard again, and we'll do this over and over. I think that's something that we really need to do for our young.